everybody. Welcome back to another week of Do the Damn Thing. I hope you all had a fabulous Thanksgiving break. Got some time to rest and recoup. I know I did, and it was much needed. But on to bigger and better things. Today, I am very excited and pleased and thrilled and honored to be joined by Gabby De La Rosa. Gabby is the owner and founder of Texas Chingona. Did I say that right, Gabby?
That's correct.
All right. Right on. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me here today. We're very happy to have you.
Thanks for having me. This is great.
Yeah. So I came across you and I started doing a little research. And one, because I love a good margarita. And I also love Taco Tuesday. I love Frida Kahlo. And all of a sudden I was like, me and Gabby, we're kindred spirits. We have to chat. So then, I just started reading about you, and you've got yourself quite a following there. You've got 19,000 followers on Instagram. I'm sure you've got, double that in your email list or wherever it is you store these people. But let's talk a little bit about Texas Chingona. What is it?
So first of all, let's talk about the name. I live in Texas. I'm from Texas. My family has been here for generations since it was a part of Mexico. And Chingona means, it's a slang word. It's usually used in Mexico, but it basically means a badass woman.
Yeah.
And so I felt like sticking those two things together was perfect. And that's where the name came from. So basically it started out as I wanted to sell t-shirts, really.
Yeah.
So I started about 2.5 years ago, and with one shirt, no experience, no Instagram experience, 0 followers. I had nothing except a dream.
What was your first shirt? Do you have like funny sayings? Was it a picture of Frida Kahlo? What's your
No, my first shirt actually was really simple. It was a picture of a blue Texas, and it said the word Chingona on it.
Right
and
on.
That was it. I had another one that was pink, and it said the word chiflada, which means it has multiple meanings, but the way that we used it in my family was mean like spoiled. So those are my first 2 shirts, and from there, really the brand like blossomed into something to empower women, specifically Latina women.
Yeah.
And it's created a community around that.
So did you have a background in retail when you decided that you were going to take on this dream of selling t-shirts? Because that's a whole can of worms right there.
So my background, I have a master's degree in environmental science.
So no.
No retail experience at all. I didn't know how to make a t-shirt. I didn't know how to design a t-shirt. I really didn't know anything. I just needed a creative outlet. And I knew the one thing that I knew for sure was that I wanted to focus on Latinas, and that I wanted Instagram to be my sole platform for marketing.
And what year was this again? Because
it's been 2.5 years. So
okay.
Yeah, May of 2018, I guess.
Awesome. And I do want to mention that we are live. So if anyone has any questions for Gabby, just go ahead and put them in the chat, and I will chat, and I will do my best to get to them. But let's talk about this transition, because I find it amazing. I watch Vanderpump Rules. Not sure if anyone else out there. There's no audience, so everyone should be applauding. Like if they watch. Anyway, there's a girl on Vanderpump Rules, and she decided she wanted to make t-shirts. Right? She's like all these funny little sayings, and she wanted to make t-shirts. And so I've been following her journey of building and launching this t-shirt brand, and what struggles she has, and how hard it is, and how she thought it was going to be, I'm just going to, use my celebrity and sell 1 million t-shirts, and that's going to be how that's going to go. And it didn't work out that way. So talk to me how you first got started, and then how you transitioned into a community, because it's not something you normally would use as a launch pad, I would think, to building a community.
Right. Well, to be honest, I had no expectations. I thought if I sell 10 shirts, great. If I get 100 followers, fantastic. I mean, I remember when I started, 0 followers, and I would look at these influencers who had 3,000 followers, and I was like, oh, they're like celebrities. I couldn't imagine that for me. But, slowly but surely I transitioned. It's not about just selling the shirt. It's about selling sort of a lifestyle. So it's about selling nostalgia. It's
Right.
about selling, the icons of our Latina community. It's just reaching people that way. So yeah, and I will tell you this. Now anyone can make a shirt. Anyone can make a t-shirt in their home. All you need is to go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby, buy a circuit. Those little, I don't even know what they're called. I think they're called circuits.
Okay.
And you get vinyl and you can print your own t-shirt. I mean,
You're
really.
giving away your business plan.
Well, that's not what I do. But people can do that. So the competition is pretty stiff. And I will also say this, price-wise, you can go to Target or Walmart or any number of fast fashion places and get a t-shirt for $5 to $7.
Right.
And it's cute and it's witty. And, so there's competition there also. So you really can't go into it thinking that you're going to be an overnight success, because likely it's not going to happen.
I'm on. Hold on. Okay. So anyway, sorry about that. We're doing e-learning here at my home. So there you go.
I understand.
Anyway, so you're not in it to make money on the t-shirt side. You do a lot of other things. So you talk about food, you talk about blogging, you talk about entertainment. So is this a business where you make money, or is it more about networking and making a community? Like, what's your end goal?
I would say at this point, obviously it's a business to make money. I think anytime that although I don't spend any money on advertising, all of my growth and reach and everything is organic. So I don't use ads. I don't use Facebook ads. I don't do any of those things. But I do have overhead as far as the programs I use to make my t-shirts and different things like that. So yes, I do have overhead and I do make money. Otherwise, this is a really expensive hobby. But
so do you make the money on the sale of the t-shirts?
Yes.
Okay. Because I mean, you've got 19,000 followers. That's a lot of followers. For just, unless everyone's buying t-shirts, on a weekly or annually basis, you've obviously built something stronger than just t-shirts. And like you said, it's about the community.
Right. It's about the community. And I feel that is really important. And it's funny because at the end of last year, before the pandemic, before anything happened, I did a survey, and I think I offered like a gift card. And I said, if you answer the survey, I'm going to enter you into a raffle at the end. So I asked several questions about my business. What do you like about it? Do you like the t-shirts? Would you like to see more merchandise? Would you rather it just switch to just women and Latina empowerment? Because it's hard sometimes to just keep that creative cycle going, because it's just me and I have a full-time job and I have 3 children, so I have other things besides Texas Chingona.
Yeah.
And so I was really interested to see what people were going to say. And overwhelmingly, they said they wanted the merchandise.
Right.
So I was like, okay, well, I'll keep going. So that was really interesting. And then, I did have the people say that we love. And then other than that, the thing that stood out was the empowerment. Right. That they loved the female empowerment aspect.
Right.
Of the brand.
Now, do the people in your community, do they network amongst themselves? Is there like an actual community, or is it just you have followers?
So I suppose there isn't a community. Like I don't have a Facebook group or anything like that. I mean, there are Latina communities out there.
Sure.
But not through me specifically.
We've got a question from Melissa. She says, did you ever expect to have such a huge Instagram following?
Never. Never. I remember when I got it out, I remember getting 43 followers. And I was like, wow, I mean, that's almost 50. I am set. But it just kept growing and growing. And luckily, I've been, picked up by different media outlets, and my stuff's been shared here and there.
Yeah.
So I've been really fortunate.
It's amazing growth. It's really something to be proud of. You should pat yourself on the back. I mean, that's amazing. Now on your website, you do have articles, like I mentioned, about food and various other blogs. Do you have contributors who write those as well, or are you the sole contributor?
No, it's just me. So I said my background was environmental science, and I worked in that career for years. But my, I guess, second career is as a writer. So I'm a journalist. I currently am the editor of 2 magazines here in Houston.
Oh,
I
nice.
freelance and that sort of thing. So I write full time. I decided adding a blog to sort of my brand just made sense for me. I should probably do it a little more often.
That we all
But
say that. I think every blogger says that. It's funny, and I remember back in the days of like a diary, when I used to keep a diary, almost every entry started with like, "So sorry I haven't written in so long." Like we all have this guilt, right?
yeah,
Like, we should do more.
well, 2021, I'm going to make it happen.
Okay, I believe you. I believe you. Now, in terms of the actual the t-shirts and the place where you do make money, do all of the production, and I don't know, do you have a warehouse? Like, how did you get that all up and running, and your delivery? Like, for anyone out there looking to maybe start their own t-shirt line or own retail line of any sort, like how do you get going? How do you get that foot in the door?
Well, so my initial 2 shirts that I told you about, I used a local printer. But because I was ordering in such small quantities, it's expensive. So the profit margin is very slim. Now, the profit margin in clothing retail is pretty slim anyway. But so then I did a bunch of research on drop shippers and print on demand. And ultimately, there's a few out there. And ultimately, I chose Printful. And so that is how I do most of my shirts. Now, some of them I do some pop-ups and sales and stuff, and I do have those printed locally, but the majority of my shirts are printed on demand. So
Nice.
I would say research. There's so many different print on demand, companies and options. So I would say do research, pick the one that works for you. And it's pretty easy. They make it pretty easy to get in there and get your design uploaded and on your website.
And now, I know drop shipping is huge. I see it pop up every now and there. There's always somebody telling me I make $1 million if I start drop shipping. So
Right.
for those of our audience who may not be aware, what is drop shipping?
So that means when you order a t-shirt from my website, it is printed right then and there. So I don't keep any inventory. There's no overhead. Of course, you have to pay to sign up, and they get a percentage of what you sell.
Okay.
So it's sort of risk-free in the way that you don't carry inventory. So if you have a t-shirt that bombs, well, so what?
So what?
Right? Yeah, just take it off your website and start again. Whereas if you print locally or print yourself and you have a t-shirt that bombs, well, then you're stuck with a bunch of t-shirts.
You got a house full of t-shirts nobody wants.
Right. Exactly. So it's sort of, it has benefits and, because you're giving away some of your profit.
Right.
But you're not taking the risk.
Yeah, no, it seems like a great idea. Charlie wants to know, what was the name of that, the print on demand you mentioned?
Printful. So the one I use is Printful. I know there's Teespring. There's several out there. You can just Google print on demand companies and a list will come up.
Awesome. Now, did you make it a conscious choice to not spend money on advertising? Is that something that you plan to continue? An interesting choice. I mean, I would say it's probably the minority as opposed to what most people would choose.
Right. It's funny because I've listened to like Gary Vee, and Gary Vee will just shame you to no end for saying, because now it's sort of the Wild West of advertising on social media because you can get an ad for so cheap. And that won't be the case in, 2, 3, 5 years. But I grew and was making pretty good sales and thought, let me just see how long this lasts. So at first it wasn't a conscious choice. At first I didn't have the money to do it.
Right.
But now I'm sort of like, well, it's worked for me this long. Let's just keep it going. So
let's do it. So we're going to take a look right now at your Instagram page, which again is Lovely. And you've got all sorts of things on here. Now, Instagram, as you mentioned, is, your home base. It's where you make your connections. It's where you do any sort of outreach. So, do you have a specific strategy for your feed and for the images you post and for how you gain this many followers?
I would say that at first I did not have a strategy. Um, but then I started realizing that my post fell into specific categories. So
Mm-hmm.
my post fell into funny or witty, nostalgic. So stuff that as a Latina you'd understand from your childhood, food, and then culture, and then just cute things. So a cute thing could be, I think my last post was a succulent Christmas tree. I do a lot of babies dressed in, traditional Latin costume, if you call it that. So I realized that those were the things that my followers liked. So I just kept doing it, you
Right.
know.
Trial and
And then
error.
of course, huh?
Trial and
Pardon?
error.
Trial and error. So, and then, of course, interspersed with those is my products.
Right. Right. Well, they got to, right?
Yeah.
Right. Very cool. Very cool. And now, obviously, there's a large, you're in Texas, and there
Yes.
is a large Latin population community in Texas. But do you find that your followers are primarily local or all over the world?
Um, they are primarily in Texas, but everywhere really. A lot of Los Angeles. When you find the concentrated pockets of Latin communities, I have followers there. Some in Mexico.
So do you
So yeah,
use the location tag on or the location sticker on Instagram a lot? Just try, like the that feature to
I
find
do.
them locally. Yeah.
Mhm.
For those people just watching out, I know a lot of people would be interested to hear if you have any advice or tips on how to grow your following. I mean, you've seen amazing growth in a
I would
short period of time.
say, I would say the most important thing is to realize that your Instagram is not about you.
Right.
It's about your audience, and it's about how you serve your audience. So that's the number one thing. Unless you are Jennifer Lopez or Matthew McConaughey or someone else, no one cares about your life, really. Really. So what they want is themselves reflected back at them, you know?
Right.
And so I think that's the number one thing. And also, if you're selling a product, it can't always be so salesy.
Right.
You have to make it fun and interesting and different, or else people are going to get bored. And, there's so much social media coming at us all the time that you have to stay relevant, or people are just going to keep scrolling.
Yeah, no, absolutely. One of the things we talk about a lot at HipCat Society is that you need to give your audience tons of value. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of the time that translates into, I'm a coach or I've got an informational product, so I'm going to give them a piece of it. I'm going to give them a worksheet, where it's hard when you're selling a physical product to provide value in a traditional sense, you know what I mean, without giving away free t-shirts, right? But it
Right.
sounds like what you've done is you've really provided value to them by reflecting their community and their likes in your feed. Like you give them value by showing them things that they want to see. I mean, is that a good way to summarize it?
I'd say yes, definitely. I mean, providing the value there's value in laughing.
For
There's
sure.
value in remembering when you were a little girl, eating tacos with your mom
Yeah.
or making tacos with your mom. Or there's value in all of those things. So, yes, you should never post just to post. If you don't have something good, skip it.
Right.
Just wait until the inspiration hits you, or else you're just messing around on the internet if you're not posting with a strategy.
Right, right. So if we were to scroll back to 2.5 years ago in your Instagram, if they haven't been deleted, would we
Yeah,
see chaos?
total chaos.
Total chaos.
Yeah,
Okay.
total chaos. I didn't have like a color scheme. Now I try to stay within the same colors, fonts, it's just style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
that's
that
great.
has evolved.
That is so great because I think that's a lot of what our audience wants to hear, because they're all kind of fumbling their way through and just starting out. And it's so um, validating in a sense to hear from other people who have now emerged from the fledgling stage that we're all started together. You know what I mean? Like we all were chaotic in our feeds at first. We all didn't have a strategy, and then to hear someone like I said, like you, who's like, okay, well, I was where you are, and I learned. It took me a minute.
Right.
I learned. Do you get a lot of feedback? Do you just like I know everyone says don't watch the vanity metrics, but yet we all watch the vanity metrics. Do you judge that? Like, hey, this post got 500 likes, where this one got none. I'm going to do more of that.
Oh, completely. You
Yeah.
have to listen to your audience. You have to be in tune with what they want, because that's what's working. And ultimately, if you're selling a product, why would you sell a product no one wants? It's the same thing with your Instagram. Why would you keep posting things that no one, likes?
Right. Right. Like you
So
said, it's not about you.
it's not about you. And I think 2.5 years ago, which isn't that long ago, but Instagram didn't have a lot of the features they have now, where you can do a poll, ask a question, do a reel. Even stories were different then. So, or they didn't even have stories.
Yeah.
So
Or reels.
now I feel like Instagram has made it a lot easier to connect with your audience and say, hey, what do you like, this or this? And they tell you, you
Yeah.
know.
So, um, are there certain features that you just absolutely love about Instagram? Like,
Besides
what's your
filters,
go-to hashtags? I would assume.
yes, hashtags are super, super important. And I think a lot of people undervalue those. Um,
Do you have a hashtag strategy?
I do. If I could take my phone off this and I could just show you, I have an entire note that you could like scroll and scroll and scroll, where I have different hashtag groups
Okay.
according to what I'm posting. So if I post Frida Kahlo, I have a group of Frida Kahlo hashtags. If I post food, same thing. If it's an empowering post, I have like 10 different hashtag groups for empowerment. Um, so, but it's also important to have at least a few hashtags that are very relevant to the photo you're posting.
Right. Yeah. No.
So
Absolutely.
if I'm posting, I don't know, you don't want to just have random stuff in there, but let's just say I'm posting a picture of Frida Kahlo eating a taco, let's just say. I would then want to make hashtags specific to that, in addition to all the food ones and all the Frida Kahlo ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. On Instagram these days, they give you such great analytics. And a lot of people use third-party tools to either post or to monitor their social feeds. And maybe you do as well. I'll ask you that. But I think Instagram's just native analytics give you lots of good info.
Oh, for sure. I definitely pay attention to those. And I used to use a third party app sort of to track followers, but I haven't done that in quite some time. And I post always natively. Um, I'm always posting in the real time for
Yeah.
my business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Right on. Now, as you know, the name of the show is "Do the Damn Thing," and it's an attempt to kind of inspire people to get past that whatever's blocking them and just do it. Like take that first step, start that journey, launch that business, build that website, whatever it is. If you were to be, well, you are speaking to people out there who may not, maybe has an idea but doesn't know where to go. What advice would you say to them? Like, what can you tell them to maybe help them get moving?
So I really had been thinking about this for a long time. Making t-shirts was something that I always wanted to do. Like I said, I never knew it would grow into this community, but I just kept putting it off, like started a job, had kids, blah, blah, blah. And I just came to a point where I was in a real low point and I needed a creative outlet, and I still hemmed and hawed about it. And what finally made me just make the move was I'd rather do it and fail than never do it and always ask myself what would have
Yes.
happened.
Yeah.
And that's what pushed me over the hump. And once I started getting going, I just loved it. I loved it. I loved talking to people. I loved creating. And so it worked.
Yeah. No, that's great. I mean, and I see that a lot of people being like, just try it. If you don't, you're going to live in regret, right? You'll never know. And even if you fail, it's better to fail than to not have tried it all. So I
Right.
absolutely love that sentiment. And it goes a lot along with, your empowerment mission, right? Like you will be empowered if you take that step.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and also I think it's important. You never know who is watching or who is listening out there in the social media world. I mean, I've been contacted by women who are going through breast cancer, who are going through divorce, who are just all sort of situations in their lives where I did a post on Instagram and it affected them. That's
Yeah.
crazy to me that that I could have that power. I also, one of my shirts is going to be in the first ever Latina exhibition in the Smithsonian Museum.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah,
How did they find you? Just on Instagram, huh?
they did. They
That's
found me on
great.
Instagram. I got a random message from one of the buyers, and my shirt is going to be part of the merchandise for that exhibit. So
Wow. And what does the shirt say?
it is, let's see, Latina Power.
Nice.
Wait, yeah, the Latina Power. It's a circle one. It's not live on the website right now, but it just goes to show you never know who is looking and who's appreciating what you're doing.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true, and that's huge. So, you never know when magic is going to strike, too,
Yeah,
right? You never know
it's true.
when the candle's going to ignite and good things are going to happen. So, go ahead and take that step. Let's talk. We only have a little bit more time, but I want to talk about a typical day for you. So, getting where you are now, if you had known what it would turn out like, were there things you would have done differently?
I think I would have been a lot bolder. I would have, and
Interesting.
also I think now I really don't care. I really don't care what people think. I would have been bolder. I would have been more brave. I would have taken a lot of my own advice. And I
More
just would
brave
have
in what
done it.
capacity? You mean in like the slogans that you put on your shirts or just
Yeah,
in
and just not overthinking the posts. I think I probably would have myself been on more, selling the brand. Um,
so trust your gut more.
yeah, and I think I would have been in front of the camera. You hardly see me in front of the
Right.
camera on my feed. Um, and I think I would have really spent more time on strategy in the early days and
Yeah.
really thought about it. But you don't know what you don't know. So,
You can change that now. You can start being on camera right now.
yeah, true, very true.
Well, and it's one of the things that we talk about as like trends going into 2021. It's like you have to establish trust and a rapport and a relationship with your audience. And there's no faster and better way to do that than to let them see you, let them hear
Yep.
you.
Yeah.
People obviously want to hear and see what you have to say. They like you, Gabby. Give
Well,
them
thank you.
more of you.
I'm going to try. I'm really going to try. It is one of my goals for 2021. And to that end, I really feel like Instagram, I hope, is moving away from the perfectly curated, filtered image of how we should look into how we really look.
Right.
I mean, I'm wearing makeup and I comb my hair for you guys, but this isn't how it always is every day. And I think that needs to be more real.
Yeah, I don't know if the world's ready to see what I look like without makeup and lighting. But we'll get there. We are just about out of time. I want to give you a chance to shout out where people can find you, where they can buy your shirts, where they can follow you. We'll also put it in the descriptions. We're going to post this on YouTube, on IGTV. But go ahead and shout it out now so everybody can go buy your amazing t-shirts and support Latin ladies.
Well, thank you. So on Instagram, you can find me at Texas Chingona and or texaschingona.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on, and I wish you nothing but the best. And we will be following, and we will be watching.
Great. Thank you so much. This was really fun.
Thanks, guys. Bye bye.
Bye.